You're listening to Confessions of a Counselor podcast. Here we will talk all things mental wellness.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Confessions of a Counselor. I'm your host, Janice, and today I thought we would talk about embarrassment, particularly embarrassment within the therapeutic setting. So oftentimes I will hear clients talking about how they feel embarrassed about sharing something, or they're not sure if it's TMI, or they're kind of feeling uncertain about sharing something. And so I thought we would talk about that today from the therapeutics perspective. Okay, so let's jump right in. In terms of embarrassment, I think that this is a topic that comes up a lot in conversation because of the deep dive that we do within the therapeutic setting, right? So there's this pressure to share, there's pressure to divulge whatever's going on, and I think that that's really important. In the same token, I think there's a lot that we can tell from embarrassment, right? So what is going on? What is the feeling that embarrassment is sharing? Because oftentimes embarrassment is a capping feeling, right? So it's a feeling that happens on top of other feelings. So am I feeling anxious or nervous or sad or scared? And that's what is underneath of that embarrassment. And that's the unpacking that we can do in therapy. However, if embarrassment is coming up within the therapeutic setting more often than not, then there's kind of a couple of different things that pop up into my mind. One, am I just not ready to unpack that yet? Am I not ready to do that work? In which case, let's table that conversation and do that work when you're ready, right? There's never any pressure or need to do that work right in that moment, right? We can table that. We can put a pin in it and come back to it later. The second being, is this the right fit in terms of therapist, right? So if embarrassment is coming up over and over again, do I feel comfortable? Do I feel like there's safety that I can create in terms of this therapeutic relationship? Or perhaps it's not quite the right fit. The third one would be, is this embarrassment chronic, right? Am I just kind of feeling low about myself and beating myself up and judging myself, and that's why that embarrassment is showing up over and over and over again. So kind of checking in with ourselves and seeing, why is this embarrassment showing up? What is it kind of indicating? I think is really important. Keeping in mind that there's not a lot that's going to shake a therapist, right? So oftentimes I hear like, oh, I'm embarrassed to share this with you, or, oh, I'm not sure if this is TMI, or kind of what's gonna happen if I share this information. There's not a lot that's going to shake a therapist. I think most of us have kind of been around the block a couple of times. We've heard a lot of things. There's not a lot that's going to kind of shake us or stir up that embarrassment within us. We've heard a lot. We've seen a lot. I think particularly with a therapist who has been in practice for some time. And if I do have feelings about it, right, if we take on the perspective of what's going on for the therapist, my time to process my feelings is not in session with you. If I need to process something, I have resources. I have people that I can go to, safe, confidential places where I can process my feelings, not your story, not what you're telling me, but my feelings about what's going on. So that's not for you to take on. If you need to process something that you're feeling embarrassed about, therapy is the place where we can do that, because there's not often places outside of that where we can talk about embarrassing things and know that we're going to be held and cared for. So just some things to think about in terms of embarrassment and how that's showing up in the therapeutic setting, and some questions to ask yourself around why the embarrassment is showing up. So I hope that helps. Hope that gives you some perspective on embarrassment in therapy, and know that you're not alone in feeling maybe a little bit uncomfortable or uneasy sharing things. The therapeutic relationship is a very unique, specific dynamic that can sometimes shuffle it or bring up some interesting feelings. Okay, so until next time, take care.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Confessions of a Counselor podcast is available anywhere you like to listen to your podcast, both on Apple and Android. New episodes will be released every Friday. If you enjoyed this podcast, please feel free to join the conversation. Leave a review or subscribe to the podcast hosted on the Anchor app. All these details can be found at janicelyons.com. Until next time, take care.